Question paper name, XAT 2021 3rd January 2021. Question number 1. Read the following statement. While startups have blank, reach blank, they introduce blank products, they open up blank markets. Fill in the blanks meaningfully in the above statement from the following options. Options 1. Limited, when, innovative, new. 2. Limited, since, new, innovative. 3. Restricted, while, innovative, new. 4. Restricted, when, new, innovative. 5. Limited, if, new, innovative. Answer. The correct option is 5. Limited, if, new, innovative. Question number 2. Read the following statements and answer the question that follows. 1. Behavioral models in finance most often critique the efficient market hypothesis, which states that if investors behave rationally, then prices should reflect all available information about the financial asset in consideration. 2. A number of behavioral models, including feedback models where investors bid up the price, have been used to explain this phenomenon. 3. But asset price bubbles and crashes belie this conclusion. 4. Finance is one of the fields where behavioral models have been used extensively, enough for behavioral finance. 5. This idea of irrational exuberance is now widely accepted and used in financial analysis, especially while analyzing asset price bubbles. Arrange the above 5 statements in a logical sequence. Options 1 4 5 1 3 2 2 4 1 3 2 5 3 1 4 2 3 5 4 1 3 2 5 4 5 4 3 1 5 2. Answer. The correct option is 3 1 4 2 3 5. Question number 3. Read the following statements and answer the question that follows. 1. Some countries are, at least, trying to curb emissions. 2. Morocco is building a colossal solar power plant in the desert. 3. States in the Middle East and North Africa can do little on their own to mitigate climate change. 4. Saudi Arabia is not going to stop exporting oil, but it plans to build a solar plant that will be about 200 times the size of the biggest such facility operating today. 5. Politics often gets in the way of problem solving. Arrange the above 5 statements in a logical sequence. Options 1 3 5 1 2 4 2 4 2 1 5 3 3 5 3 1 4 2 4 5 1 3 4 2 5 3 1 5 2 4. Answer. The correct option is 5 3 1 5 2 4. Question number 4. Which of the following sentences uses a wrong tag question? Options 1. You like to play, don't you? 2. Nobody has called for you, have they? 3. He has few reasons for saying no to the match, has he? 4. Moreover, he plays well, isn't it? 5. There is little point in doing anything about the match, is there? Answer. The correct option is 4. Moreover, he plays well, isn't it? Explanation. The correct tag question for the statement moreover, he plays well is doesn't he, or isn't he? However, the tag question isn't it is incorrect because it does not agree with the subject of the statement, which is he. Isn't it suggests that the subject of the statement is it, which does not make sense in the context of the sentence. Question number 5. Read the following sentences and answer the question that follows. 1. In my opinion, Tom Jones is a picaresque novel. 2. According to me, Tom Jones is a Bildungsroman. 3. The books were distributed between Jessica, Neha and Swati. 4. The books were distributed among Jessica and Neha. 5. Life teaches us important lessons. 6. The life moves forward, teaches backward. Which of the above sentences are grammatically correct? Options: 1, 1, 4, 5. 2, 2, 3, 6. 3, 1, 4, 6. 4, 2, 4, 6. 5, 1, 3, 5. Answer: the correct option is 5, 1, 3, 5. Explanation: sentences 1, 3, and 5 are grammatically correct. In sentence 1, Tom Jones is a proper noun and picaresque novel is a noun phrase that correctly describes it. In sentence 3, the books is the subject, were distributed is the verb, and between Jessica, Neha and Swati is a prepositional phrase that correctly indicates the recipients of the books. In sentence 5, life is the subject and teaches is the verb, and the rest of the sentence is a clause that correctly completes the thought. Sentences 2, 4, and 6 have errors in them. In sentence 2, Tom Jones is a proper noun and Bildungsroman is a noun phrase that correctly describes it, but according to me is not a grammatically correct prepositional phrase to indicate the source of the information. In sentence 4, the books is the subject, were distributed is the verb, and among Jessica and Neha is a prepositional phrase that correctly indicates the recipients of the books, but the preposition among is used incorrectly when the preposition between should be used, as between is used to indicate a distribution among two or more individuals. In sentence 6, the life is not a grammatically correct subject because life is an abstract concept and cannot be the subject of a verb. The verb moves is also incorrect because it does not match the subject life. Finally, teaches backward is not a grammatically correct clause because backward is not a verb and cannot complete the thought. Question number 6. Read the following sentences and answer the question that follows. 1. We are going to a restaurant, but we haven't decided which one. 2. We went to the toilet behind a tree. 3. It was the November after we went to Indonesia. 4. My friend is traveling to UK. 5. She drinks medicine by a liter. 6. Would you rather go out or watch a TV? Which of the above sentences have incorrect usages of articles? Options: 1, 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 4, 5. 4, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6, 1, 2. Answer: the correct option is 3, 3, 4, 5. Explanation: sentences 3, 4, and 5 have incorrect usages of articles. In sentence 3, the November is incorrect because November is not a specific month, but rather a general time period. The correct way to phrase this sentence would be it was November, the month after we went to Indonesia. In sentence 4, the UK is incorrect because UK is an abbreviation for the United Kingdom and the should not be used before abbreviations. The correct way to phrase this sentence would be my friend is traveling to the United Kingdom. In sentence 5, a liter is incorrect because liter is a unit of measurement and they should not be used before units of measurement. The correct way to phrase this sentence would be she drinks medicine by the liter. Sentences 1, 2, and 6 do not have incorrect usages of articles. Question number 7. Read the following passage and answer the question that follows. Twitter is not on the masthead of a newspaper, but Twitter has become its ultimate editor. As the ethics and mores of that platform have become those of the paper itself has increasingly become a kind of performance space. Stories are chosen and told in a way to satisfy the narrowest of audiences, rather than to allow a curious public to read about the world and then draw their own conclusions. Based on the passage, the writer's disappointment can be best summarized as options. 1. Newspapers cave into the narratives shared on social media platforms. 2. Newspapers create their own narratives to control the audience. 3. Newspapers get influenced by the followers on social media platforms. 4. Newspapers are ready to compromise with their ethics. 5. Newspapers fear to speak outside the narrow confines of social media. Answer. The correct option is 5. Newspapers fear to speak outside the narrow confines of social media. Why? The passage states that stories in newspapers are chosen and told in a way to satisfy the narrowest of audiences, rather than to allow a curious public to read about the world and draw their own conclusions. This suggests that the newspapers are catering to a specific, narrow audience, rather than providing a wider range of information for the general public to consider. Additionally, the mention of Twitter as the ultimate editor implies that the newspaper is being influenced by social media, which further suggests that the newspapers are limiting themselves to a specific, narrow perspective. Therefore, the writer's disappointment can be best summarized as the newspapers fear to speak outside the narrow confines of social media. Question number 8. Read the following passage and answer the question that follows. The painting, which is in poor condition, suggests that a highly advanced artistic culture existed some 44,000 years ago, punctuated by folklore, religious myths, and spiritual belief. The scene may be regarded not only as the earliest dated figurative art in the world but also as the oldest evidence for the communication of a narrative in Paleolithic art. This is noteworthy, given that the ability to invent fictional stories may have been the last and most crucial stage in the evolutionary history of human language and the development of modern-like patterns of cognition, researchers said. Which of the following can be best concluded from the passage? Options. 1. Paleolithic people possessed advanced artistic culture, evidenced through paintings. 2. Advanced cognitive abilities of Paleolithic people is substantiated by the painting. 3. The painting timestamps the beginning of the evolution of modern-like cognitive abilities. 4. Evolution of modern-day languages started with Paleolithic era, evidenced through the painting. 5. The painting puts chronological context to the evolution of modern-like cognitive abilities. Answer. The correct option is 3. The cognitive abilities. Why? The passage states that the painting, which is in poor condition, suggests that a highly advanced artistic culture existed some 44,000 years ago, and that the scene depicted in the painting may be regarded as the oldest evidence for the communication of a narrative in Paleolithic art. The passage also states that the ability to invent fictional stories may have been the last and most crucial stage in the evolutionary history of human language and the development of modern-like patterns of cognition. This suggests that the painting represents an early stage in the evolution of modern-like cognitive abilities, specifically the ability to communicate narratives through language. Therefore, it can be concluded that the painting timestamps the beginning of the evolution of modern-like cognitive abilities. Question number 9. Read the following passage and answer the question that follows. We can think of the history of life on Earth as a vast, long-term experiment in pure competition. Every living organism is competing with all other living organisms for resources, nutrients, sunlight, water, territory, etc. nature, or the natural world, is a laboratory of unfettered competition. It's a dog-eat-dog, no-holds-barred, day-in and day-out struggle. There are no governmental regulators to protect the weak or favor the strong. All organisms are given a chance, but not necessarily an equal chance. As the climate and the environment change, and change they do, some organisms are favored over others at times, but these advantages are fleeting. What nature gives, nature can take away. Which of the following can be best concluded from the passage? Options. 1. Competition is critical to ensure the survival of the fittest. 2. Without unforgiving competition, the planet will be inundated with the weak. 3. Nature gives a fair opportunity to every organism to survive. 4. Forgiveness is alien to the natural world. 5. Brutal competition is the only constant in the natural world. Answer. The correct option is 5. Brutal competition is the only constant in the natural world. Why? The passage describes the history of life on Earth as a vast, long-term experiment in pure competition, stating that every living organism is competing with all other living organisms for resources, and that nature is a laboratory of unfettered competition. It also mentions that there are no governmental regulators to protect the weak or favor the strong, and that all organisms are given a chance but not necessarily an equal chance. The passage further states that some organisms may be favored over others at times, but these advantages are fleeting, and what nature gives, it can take away. All of these statements suggest that competition is a harsh and constant force in the natural world, with no mercy or forgiveness. Therefore, it can be concluded that brutal competition is the only constant in the natural world. Question numbers 10 to 11. Read the following excerpt and answer the 2 questions that follow. Para 1. We plan to right-size our manufacturing operations to align to the new strategy and take advantage of integration opportunities. We expect to focus phone production mainly in Hanoi, with some production to continue in Beijing and Dongguan. We plan to shift other Microsoft manufacturing and repair operations to Manus and Reynosa respectively, and start a phased exit from Komarov, Hungary. Para 2. In short, we will focus on driving Lumia volume in the areas where we are already successful today in order to make the market for Windows Phone. With more speed, we will build on our success in the affordable smartphone space with new products offering more differentiation. We will focus on acquiring new customers in the markets where Microsoft's services and products are most concentrated. And we will continue building momentum around applications. Para 3. We plan that this would result in an estimated reduction of 12,500 factory direct and professional employees over the next year. These decisions are difficult for the team, and we plan to support departing team members with severance benefits. Sub-questions. Question number 10. Which of the following can be best described as the core message of the excerpt? Options. 1. Microsoft is shifting its base of production for Lumia along with the places it is interested in selling them. 2. Microsoft is reducing cost of operations and the number of staff involved in operations. 3. Microsoft is reducing its cost of operations and downsizing staff while staying optimistic about the future. 4. Microsoft is closing poorly performing factories and personnel though it thinks Lumia has a future. 5. Microsoft is reducing its cost of operations, marketing and human resources while staying the course on Lumia. Answer. The correct option is 3. Microsoft is reducing its cost of operations and downsizing staff while staying optimistic about the future. Question number 11. In conveying the core message, the Para 2. Options. 1. Digresses from the line of thought. 2. Elaborates the core message. 3. Reassures a promising future. 4. Assuages panic. 5. Predicts a rosy picture. Answer. The correct option is 2. Elaborates the core message. Explanation. The core message of the excerpt is that Microsoft is making changes to its manufacturing operations in order to reduce costs and align with its new strategy. This is stated in paragraph 1, which mentions that Microsoft is right-sizing its manufacturing operations and shifting production and repair operations to different locations, and in paragraph 3, which mentions that these changes will result in an estimated reduction of 12,500 employees over the next year. Paragraph 2 elaborates on this core message by providing more detail on the specific actions that Microsoft is taking as part of this restructuring. It mentions that Microsoft will focus on driving Lumia volume in markets where it is already successful, building on its success in the affordable smartphone space with new products, acquiring new customers in markets where Microsoft's products and services are concentrated, and building momentum around applications. All of these actions are intended to support the overall goal of reducing costs and aligning with the company's new strategy. Therefore, paragraph 2 elaborates on the core message rather than digressing from it or providing unrelated information. Question numbers 12 to 13. Read the following poem and answer the 2 questions that follow. Sit, drink your coffee here, your work can wait a while. You're 26 and still have some of life ahead. No need for wit, just talk vacuities, and I will reciprocate in kind, or laugh at you instead. The world is too opaque, distressing, and profound. This 20 minutes rendezvous will make my day. To sit here in the sun, with grackles all around, staring with beady eyes, and you 2 feet away. Sub-questions. Question number 12. Which of the following best captures the essence of the poem? Options. 1. Let's eat, drink and be merry in the lap of nature. 2. Let's be gibberish, not rational about life. 3. Let's create our own meaning in life, no matter what. 4. Let's enjoy a moment of peace in this busy life. 5. Let's celebrate our existence, not our work. Answer. The correct answer for question number 12 is 4. Let's enjoy a moment of peace in this busy life. The poem describes a moment where the speaker and the listener are sitting and enjoying a cup of coffee together, taking a break from their work. The speaker suggests that they talk about vacuities, meaningless or trivial topics, and not try to be clever or witty, as the world can be opaque, distressing, and profound at times. The speaker values this moment of relaxation and companionship, and mentions that it will make their day. Therefore, the essence of the poem is about finding small moments of peace and enjoyment in the midst of a busy and sometimes difficult life. Question number 13. What does the poet best convey by mentioning grackles in these lines, with grackles all around, staring with beady eyes, and you 2 feet away? Options. 1. Grackles, like humans, love to bask in the sun. 2. We should not care about grackles, but us. 3. Grackles love to stare at us, however, they maintain a 2 feet distance. 4. Over witty discussions, grackles are the pleasant birds to look at. 5. A small bird like grackle can give us lots of happiness. Answer. The correct answer for question number 13 is 3. Grackles love to stare at us, however, they maintain a 2 feet distance. In the lines of the poem, the speaker mentions the presence of grackles, a type of bird, while they are sitting and enjoying their coffee together. The grackles are described as staring at the speaker and the listener with beady eyes, but maintaining a distance of 2 feet away. This suggests that the grackles are observing the speaker and the listener but keeping a respectful distance. It could be interpreted as a metaphor for the way that nature observes and coexists with humans, but also maintains a sense of separate autonomy. Question numbers 14 to 15. Read the following passage and answer the 2 questions that follow. We stand before this great world. The truth of our life depends upon our attitude of mind towards it, an attitude which is formed by our habit of dealing with it according to the special circumstance of our surroundings and our temperaments. It guides our attempts to establish relations with the universe either by conquest or by union, either through the cultivation of power or through that of sympathy. And thus, in our realization of the truth of existence, we put our emphasis either upon the principle of dualism or upon the principle of unity. Sub-questions. Question number 14. Which of the following statements can be best inferred from the passage? Options. 1. War and conquest are a part of the truth of our life. 2. Conquest and union are 2 ways of realizing the truth of our life. 3. Our habits and surroundings determine the truth of our life. 4. Principle of dualism is inferior to the principle of unity. 5. The truth of our life co-evolved with our quest for sympathetic supremacy. Answer. 2. Conquest and union are 2 ways of realizing the truth of our life. Question number 15. According to the passage, our emphasis on dualism or on unity is best guided by. Options. 1. Our attitude of mind, formed by our habits. 2. Our deals with the universe, based on special circumstances. 3. How powerful or sympathetic our surroundings and temperament are. 4. Our desire to achieve versus our focus on contentment. 5. How we deal with our surroundings and our temperaments. Answer. Option 1. Our attitude of mind, formed by our habits, is the best answer according to the passage. The passage states that our attitude of mind towards the world is formed by our habits of dealing with it, and that this attitude guides our emphasis on either dualism or unity. Question numbers 16 to 17. Read the following passage and answer the 2 questions that follow. And that has to do with the question of uncertainty and doubt. A scientist is never certain. We all know that. We know that all our statements are approximate statements with different degrees of certainty, that when a statement is made, the question is not whether it is true or false but rather how likely it is to be true or false. We must discuss each question within the uncertainties that are allowed. And as evidence grows, it increases the probability perhaps that some idea is right or decreases it. But it never makes absolutely certain one way or the other. Now, we have found that this is of paramount importance in order to progress. We absolutely must leave room for doubt, or there is no progress and there is no learning. There is no learning without having to pose a question. And a question requires doubt. People search for certainty. But there is no certainty. People are terrified. How can you live and not know? It is not odd at all. You only think you know as a matter of fact. And most of your actions are based on incomplete knowledge, and you really don't know what it is all about, or what the purpose of the world is, or know a great deal of other things. It is possible to live and not know. Question number 16. What does the author best mean when he says, we must discuss each question within the uncertainties that are allowed? Options. 1. The question decides the amount of uncertainties that are allowed. 2. There is a finite set of uncertainties for any question. 3. The uncertainties should be relevant to the question. 4. The uncertainties are limited by the nature of the answers sought. 5. We must be prepared to accept errors in the answers we seek. Answer. We must be prepared to accept errors in the answers we seek. Explanation. Option 5 is correct because the passage states that scientists are never certain and that their statements are approximate with different degrees of certainty. The author also mentions that as evidence grows, it increases the probability that an idea is right, but it never makes it absolutely certain. Therefore, the author is suggesting that it is important to leave room for doubt in order to allow for progress and learning. This aligns with option 5, which states that we must be prepared to accept errors in the answers we seek. Question number 17. Which of the following best describes the essence of the passage? Options. 1. Reasonable discomfort with certainty is the path for progress. 2. Science can never give a conclusive answer to a question. 3. Doubting the established world order is the purpose of science. 4. Progress involves questioning accepted truths. 5. Reasonable skepticism is a characteristic of a scientific mind. Answer. Option 5 is correct because it best describes the essence of the passage, which is that reasonable skepticism is a characteristic of a scientific mind and is necessary for progress in science. The author emphasizes that scientists are never certain and that it is important to leave room for doubt in order to progress and learn. The passage also mentions that most actions are based on incomplete knowledge and that it is possible to live and not know certain things. All of these points support the idea that reasonable skepticism is an important aspect of scientific thinking. Question numbers 18 to 20. Read the following passage and answer the 3 questions that follow. Considering the multitude of situations in which we humans use numerical information, life without numbers is inconceivable. But what was the benefit of numerical competence for our ancestors before they became Homo sapiens? Why would animals crunch numbers in the first place? It turns out that processing numbers offers a significant benefit for survival, which is why this behavioral trait is present in many animal populations. Several studies examining animals in their ecological environments suggest that representing number enhances an animal's ability to exploit food sources, hunt prey, avoid predation, navigate in its habitat, and persist in social interactions. Before numerically competent animals evolved on the planet, single-celled microscopic bacteria, the oldest living organisms on Earth, already exploited quantitative information. The way bacteria make a living is through their consumption of nutrients from their environment. Mostly, they grow and divide themselves to multiply. However, in recent years, microbiologists have discovered they also have a social life and are able to sense the presence or absence of other bacteria. In other words, they can sense the number of bacteria. Take, for example, the marine bacterium Vibrio fischeri. It has a special property that allows it to produce light through a process called bioluminescence, similar to how fireflies give off light. If these bacteria are in dilute water solutions, where they are alone, they make no light. But when they grow to a certain cell number of bacteria, all of them produce light simultaneously. Therefore, Vibrio fischeri can distinguish when they are alone and when they are together. Somehow they have to communicate cell number, and it turns out they do this using a chemical language. They secrete communication molecules, and the concentration of these molecules in the water increases in proportion to the cell number. And when this molecule hits a certain amount, called a quorum, it tells the other bacteria how many neighbors there are, and all bacteria glow. This behavior is called quorum sensing. The bacteria vote with signaling molecules, the vote gets counted, and if a certain threshold, the quorum, is reached, every bacterium responds. This behavior is not just an anomaly of Vibrio fischeri. All bacteria use this sort of quorum sensing to communicate their cell number in an indirect way via signaling molecules. Sub-questions. Question number 18. Which of the following statements cannot be inferred from the passage? Options. 1. Ancestors of Homo sapiens used numerical competence. 2. Ancestors of Homo sapiens hunted in groups. 3. Ancestors of Homo sapiens interacted solely using numbers. 4. Ancestors of Homo sapiens exploited resources in groups. 5. Ancestors of Homo sapiens sensed numbers. Answer. Option 3 cannot be inferred from the passage because the passage does not mention that ancestors of Homo sapiens interacted solely using numbers. In fact, the passage mentions that animals use numerical competence to persist in social interactions, suggesting that numerical competence is just one of many ways that animals interact with each other. Question number 19. Based on the passage, which of the following statements best defines quorum? Sensing in bacteria? Options. 1. Bacteria chat only when they are in groups. 2. Bacteria respond when they discern enough numbers around them. 3. Bacteria communicate only in numerical terms with others. 4. Bacteria do not communicate beyond certain numbers. 5. Bacteria multiply only till they reach their required numbers. Answer. Option 2. Bacteria respond when they discern enough numbers around them. Why? Option 2 is the best definition of quorum sensing in bacteria according to the passage. Quorum sensing is the behavior of bacteria in which they communicate with each other and respond when they discern enough numbers around them, as described in the passage. The other options do not accurately reflect the definition of quorum sensing as described in the passage. Question number 20. Which of the following statements is not based on the premises of the passage? Options. 1. No one can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. 2. To de-escalate a border tension, countries carry out mirror deployment. 3. Teams fear a red card as it would present an advantage for the opponents. 4. Politicians rally with numbers to woo their undecided voters. 5. People protest in large numbers because it helps them get their voices heard. Answer. Option 1 is not based on the premises of the passage. The passage discusses the use of numerical competence in animals, including bacteria, for survival and communication, but does not mention anything about symphonies or orchestras. Question numbers 21 to 23. Read the following passage and answer the 3 questions that follow. Multitasking has been found to increase the production of the stress hormone cortisol, as well as the fight-or-flight hormone adrenaline, which can overstimulate your brain and cause mental fog or scrambled thinking. Multitasking creates a dopamine addiction feedback loop, effectively rewarding the brain for losing focus and for constantly searching for external stimulation. To make matters worse, the prefrontal cortex has a novelty bias, meaning that its attention can be easily hijacked by something new, the proverbial shiny objects we use to entice infants, puppies, and kittens. The irony here for those of us who are trying to focus amid competing activities is clear. The very brain region we need to rely on for staying on task is easily distracted. We answer the phone, look up something on the internet, check our email, send an SMS, and each of these things tweaks the novelty-seeking, reward-seeking centers of the brain, causing a burst of endogenous opioids. No wonder it feels so good, all to the detriment of our staying on task. It is the ultimate empty-calorie brain candy. Instead of reaping the big rewards that come from sustained, focused effort, we instead reap empty rewards from completing 1,000 little sugar-coated tasks. In the old days, if the phone rang and we were busy, we either didn't answer or we turned the ringer off. When all phones were wired to a wall, there was no expectation of being able to reach us at all times. One might have gone out for a walk or be between places, and so if someone couldn't reach you, or you didn't feel like being reached, that was considered normal. Now more people have cell phones than have toilets. This has created an implicit expectation that you should be able to reach someone when it is convenient for you, regardless of whether it is convenient for them. This expectation is so ingrained that people in meetings routinely answer their cell phones to say, "I'm sorry, I can't talk now, I'm in a meeting." Just a decade or two ago, those same people would have let a landline on their desk go unanswered during a meeting, so different were the expectations for reachability. Sub-questions. Question number 21. According to the passage, why do people in meetings routinely answer their cell phones to say, "I'm sorry, I can't talk now, I'm in a meeting"? Options. 1. Because people don't mind if somebody takes a brief phone call. 2. Because in meetings, cell phones allow people to multitask. 3. Because it is convenient for people to send a message. 4. Because if you carry a cell phone, you have to reply. 5. Because it conveys that the receiver is a busy person. Answer. The correct answer is option 5. The passage mentions that there is an implicit expectation that you should be able to reach someone when it is convenient for you, regardless of whether it is convenient for them. The person in the meeting is acknowledging this expectation by answering their phone and letting the caller know they are in a meeting, while also conveying that they are a busy person. Question number 22. What does the author best intend to convey when he says, "Now more people have cell phones than have toilets"? Options. 1. The usage of toilets is limited, while cell phones are used all the time. 2. The number of cell phone users has increased over time. 3. Everybody wants to stay connected, using cell phones. 4. Cell phones have become a bigger necessity. 5. The need to be connected is more pronounced now. Answer. The correct answer is option 2. The passage mentions that just a decade or two ago, those same people would have let a landline on their desk go unanswered during a meeting, implying that cell phone usage has increased significantly in recent years. The comparison to toilets is used to emphasize the widespread adoption of cell phones. Question number 23. Which of the following can be best inferred from the passage? Options. 1. Multitasking takes you all over. Single tasking helps you achieve some goals. 2. Multitasking helps you complete thousands of tasks. Single tasking makes you do one. 3. Multitasking gives you happiness. Single tasking gives you satisfaction. 4. Multitasking helps you move towards different goals. Single tasking helps you achieve the one. 5. Multitasking gives you a feeling of achieving many things. Single tasking enables actually achieving something. Answer. Option 5 is the correct answer. The passage mentions that multitasking results in empty rewards from completing 1,000 little tasks, while single tasking enables actually achieving something. Question numbers 24 to 26. Read the following passage and answer the 3 questions that follow. Most of recorded human history is one big data gap. Starting with the theory of man the hunter, the chroniclers of the past have left little space for women's role in the evolution of humanity, whether cultural or biological. Instead, the lives of men have been taken to represent those of humans overall. When it comes to the lives of the other half of humanity, there is often nothing but silence. And these silences are everywhere. Our entire culture is riddled with them. Films, news, literature, science, city planning, economics. The stories we tell ourselves about our past, present, and future. They are all marked, disfigured, by a female-shaped absent presence. This is the gender data gap. The gender data gap isn't just about silence. These silences, these gaps, have consequences. They impact on women's lives every day. The impact can be relatively minor. Shivering in offices set to a male temperature norm, for example, or struggling to reach a top shelf set at a male height norm. Irritating, certainly. Unjust, undoubtedly. But not life-threatening. Not like crashing in a car whose safety measures don't account for women's measurements. Not like having your heart attack go undiagnosed because your symptoms are deemed atypical. For these women, the consequences of living in a world built around male data can be deadly. One of the most important things to say about the gender data gap is that it is not generally malicious or even deliberate. Quite the opposite. It is simply the product of a way of thinking that has been around for millennia and is therefore a kind of not thinking. A double not thinking, even, men go without saying, and women don't get said at all. Because when we say human, on the whole, we mean man. This is not a new observation. Simone de Beauvoir made it most famously when in 1949 she wrote, "Humanity is male, and man defines woman not in herself, but as relative to him. She is not regarded as an autonomous being. He is the subject, he is the absolute, she is the other." What is new is the context in which women continue to be the other. And that context is a world increasingly reliant on and enthralled to data. Big data. Which in turn is panned for big truths by big algorithms, using big computers. But when your big data is corrupted by big silences, the truths you get are half-truths, at best. And often, for women, they aren't true at all. As computer scientists themselves say, garbage in, garbage out. Sub-questions. Question number 24. Based on the passage, which of the following statements best explains absent? Presence. Options. 1. By its sheer absence, it is present. 2. The absence is female-shaped, making it present. 3. The absence makes the case for the need for presence. 4. The presence is felt due to the specificity of the absence. 5. Because of the absence, one can recognize its presence. Answer. The correct answer is, the absence is female-shaped, making it present. This is because the passage states that the stories we tell ourselves about our past, present, and future are all marked by a female-shaped absent presence, and that this is the gender data gap. This suggests that the absence of women in these stories and cultural narratives is noticeable and distinct, and therefore presents itself as a presence. Question number 25. Based on the passage, which of the following options best describes double not thinking? Options. 1. Over millennia, men and women have been conditioned to treat women as unequal. 2. Men's rejection of women as humans and women's acceptance of it is a double not thinking. 3. Men not thinking and women not being allowed to think is due to double not thinking. 4. Men, over millennia, always confused human with being only male. 5. Whenever humans are mentioned, it is men, further, women are not mentioned. Answer. Option 5. Whenever humans are mentioned, it is men, further, women are not mentioned. Explanation. Option 5 most accurately reflects the concept of double not thinking as described in the passage. The passage states that when we say human, on the whole, we mean man, and that women are not mentioned at all, which reflects a tendency to default to a male perspective and to exclude women from consideration. This is what is meant by double, not thinking. Men are assumed to be the default and women are not thought about at all. This unconscious bias has been present for millennia and has significant consequences for women. Question number 26. Which of the following statements can be best concluded from the passage? Options. 1. Women have never been treated as distinct identities, which causes the gender data gap. 2. The gender data gap is amplified by data-based decision-making. 3. Emphasis on data-based decision-making can be devastating to women, given the gender data gap. 4. The need of the hour is to revisit the past and reduce the gender data gap at the earliest. 5. Over millennia, men ignored women, which resulted in the gender data gap and deadly consequences. Answer. Option 3. Emphasis on data-based decision-making can be devastating to women, given the gender data gap. This statement can be concluded from the passage, as the passage states that the gender data gap can lead to the exclusion of women's perspectives and needs in decision-making processes and the creation of systems and policies that are not inclusive or equitable. The passage also states that the gender data gap can have significant consequences for women, including potentially deadly consequences. Therefore, it can be concluded that an emphasis on data-based decision-making can be devastating to women when the data is corrupted by the gender data gap. Question number 76. Which of the following is not an online learning application? Options. 1. Udemy. 2. Duolingo. 3. Coursera. 4. Khan Academy. 5. Patreon. Answer. Option 5. Patreon. Patreon is a platform that allows creators to receive recurring payments from their supporters or patrons. It is not an online learning application. All of the other options, Udemy, Duolingo, Coursera, and Khan Academy, are online learning applications that offer courses, lessons, or other educational materials. Question number 77. Tedros Adhanom has been in the news for the last 1 year for being. Options. 1. The Director General of the World Health Organization. 2. The Director General of the International Labour Organization. 3. The 46th President of the United States of America. 4. The Times Person of the Year 2019. 5. The winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2020. Answer. Option 1. The Director General of the World Health Organization. Tedros Adhanom is the current Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO, a position he has held since 2017. He has been in the news in recent years due to his role leading the WHO's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The International Labour Organization, Option 2, is a different organization, and Tedros Adhanom is not the Director General of that organization. Option 3, the 46th President of the United States of America, is not a correct option, as Tedros Adhanom is not a US citizen or a political leader. Option 4, Times Person of the Year 2019, is also not correct, as Tedros Adhanom was not chosen for this honor. Option 5, the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2020, is also incorrect, as Tedros Adhanom has not won this award. Question number 78. Dries Mertens recently became the highest goal scorer for the football club Napoli by surpassing the tally of 115 goals across all competitions. Whose goal-scoring record did he surpass? Options. 1. Roberto Baggio. 2. Diego Maradona. 3. Pelé. 4. Cristiano Ronaldo. 5. Messi. Answer. Option 2. Diego Maradona. Dries Mertens recently became the highest goal scorer for the football club Napoli by surpassing the tally of 115 goals across all competitions. This means that he scored more goals for Napoli than any other player in the club's history, including Diego Maradona. Roberto Baggio, option 1, and Pelé, option 3, did not play for Napoli and therefore did not hold the club's goal-scoring record. Cristiano Ronaldo, option 4, and Messi, option 5, also did not play for Napoli and therefore did not hold the club's goal-scoring record. Question number 79. What is the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict? Options. 1. A territorial conflict primarily between Russia and Ukraine. 2. A territorial conflict primarily between Armenia and Azerbaijan. 3. A territorial conflict primarily between Turkey and Greece. 4. A territorial conflict primarily between Turkey and Iran. 5. A territorial conflict primarily between Russia and Uzbekistan. Answer. Option 2. A territorial conflict primarily between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is a territorial dispute primarily between the countries of Armenia and Azerbaijan. The region of Nagorno-Karabakh is located within Azerbaijan, but has a predominantly Armenian population and is controlled by ethnic Armenian forces. The conflict began in the late 1980s and escalated into a full-scale war in the 1990s, resulting in thousands of deaths and the displacement of hundreds of thousands of people. The conflict has not been fully resolved, and periodic flare-ups of violence continue to occur. Options 1, 3, 4, and 5 do not accurately describe the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Question number 80. 15-year-old Geetanjali Rao was recently in the news. Which of the following best describes her? Options. 1. She is an actress who recently signed for the upcoming Harry Potter movie. 2. She is an environment activist who won the Times Person of the Year in 2019. 3. She is a scientist and an inventor who won the Times Kid of the Year in 2020. 4. She is the youngest Indian to have awarded the title of Chess Grandmaster in 2020. 5. She is a novelist and the youngest one to have been shortlisted for the Pulitzer Prize. Answer. Option 3. She is a scientist and an inventor who won the Times Kid of the Year in 2020. Geetanjali Rao is a 15-year-old scientist and inventor who was named Times Kid of the Year in 2020. She is known for her work on environmental issues, including developing a device to detect lead in drinking water and a system to monitor and reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Option 1, Option 2, Option 4, and Option 5 do not accurately describe Geetanjali Rao's achievements or accolades. Question number 81. What is Hayabusa 2? Options. 1. It is a Japanese adaptation of Star Wars. 2. It is the name given to the new mutated form of coronavirus.
Kolmas is a kartoonseries Totake and the popular Naruto series.
4. It is an asteroid sample return mission by Jaksha. 5. It is the name of a new smartphone based on Linux. Answer. Option 4. It is an asteroid sample return mission by Jaksha. Hayabusa 2 is a spacecraft mission developed by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, to collect samples from the asteroid Ryugu and return them to Earth for study. The mission was launched in 2014 and successfully completed its sample gathering mission in 2019. Option 1, Option 2, Option 3, and Option 5 do not accurately describe Hayabusa 2. Question number 82. Arecibo telescope, known for its stellar contributions in the field of astronomy, collapsed recently. Where was it located? Options: 1. Bahamas, 2. Papua New Guinea, 3. Jamaica, 4. Puerto Rico, 5. Guam. Answer: Option 4. Puerto Rico. The Arecibo Observatory, which included the Arecibo Telescope, was a research facility located in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. The telescope was known for its contributions to the fields of astronomy and atmospheric science, and was used for a variety of research purposes, including the study of planets, asteroids, and comets, as well as the detection of radio signals from distant objects. The telescope collapsed in August 2020 due to structural damage that had occurred over time. Options 1, 2, 3, and 5 do not accurately describe the location of the Arecibo Observatory. Question number 83. Which of the following is a Danish dependency? Options: 1. Gibraltar, 2. Greenland, 3. Andorra, 4. Monaco, 5. San Marino. Answer: Option 2. Greenland. Greenland is a Danish dependency, which means that it is a self-governing territory that is part of the Kingdom of Denmark but has a high degree of autonomy. Greenland is located in the Arctic region and is the largest island in the world. Options 1, 3, 4, and 5 are not Danish dependencies. Question number 86. Which of the following is not an OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, member? Options: 1. Japan, 2. Taiwan, 3. Chile, 4. Israel, 5. Turkey. Answer: Option 2. Taiwan. Taiwan is not a member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. The OECD is an international organization that promotes economic development and cooperation among its member countries, which are primarily high-income, developed countries. Taiwan is not a member of the OECD, although it is a prosperous and developed country. Options 1, 3, 4, and 5 are all OECD member countries. Question number 87. Who was recently appointed as the CEO of Cafe Coffee Day? Options: 1. V.G. Siddhartha, 2. Malvika Hegde, 3. Venu Madhav Krishna, 4. Gopal Gouda, 5. Kamini Uttappa. Answer: Option 2. Malvika Hegde. Malvika Hegde was recently appointed as the CEO of Cafe Coffee Day, a popular chain of coffee shops in India. V.G. Siddhartha, option 1, was the founder of Cafe Coffee Day, but he passed away in 2019. Venu Madhav Krishna, option 3, Gopal Gouda, option 4, and Kamini Uttappa, option 5, are not affiliated with Cafe Coffee Day. Question number 88. Which wildlife sanctuary national park is identified and prepared to translocate Asiatic lions from Gir National Park, Gujarat? Options: 1. Satpura National Park, 2. Pench National Park, 3. Kheoni Wildlife Sanctuary, 4. Kuno National Park, 5. Achanakmar Wildlife Sanctuary. Answer: Option 4, Kuno National Park. Kuno National Park, located in Madhya Pradesh, India, has been identified and prepared as a potential relocation site for Asiatic lions from Gir National Park in Gujarat. Asiatic lions are an endangered species and Gir National Park is their only natural habitat. In order to protect the lions and promote their conservation, the Indian government has plans to translocate some of the lions to Kuno National Park. Options 1, 2, 3, and 5 are not related to the translocation of Asiatic lions. Question number 89. Who authored the famous book Economy of Permanence? Options: 1. Vinayak Narhari Vinoba Bhave. 2. Murlidhar Devidas Baba Amte. 3. Lokamanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. 4. Joseph Chelladurai Cornelius J.C. Kumarappa. 5. Diwan Bahadur Rettamlai Srinivasan. Answer: Option 4. Joseph Chelladurai Cornelius J.C. Kumarappa. Economy of Permanence is a book written by Joseph Chelladurai Cornelius J.C. Kumarappa, an Indian economist and social reformer. The book explores the principles of economic sustainability and advocates for a decentralized, equitable, and environmentally conscious economic system. Options 1, 2, 3, and 5 are not the authors of the book Economy of Permanence. Question number 92. In India, where did Mahatma Gandhi stage his first major satyagraha in 1917? Options: 1. Vankana. 2. Bikaner. 3. Champaran. 4. Dandi. 5. Sabarmati. Answer: Option 3. Champaran. Mahatma Gandhi staged his first major satyagraha, or non-violent resistance movement, in Champaran, a district in the state of Bihar, India, in 1917. The satyagraha was in protest against the exploitation of farmers by British indigo planters, and it marked the beginning of Gandhi's larger campaign for Indian independence. Options 1, 2, 4, and 5 are not the location of Gandhi's first major satyagraha. Question number 93. Who was the first Indian to win the Global Teacher Prize? Options: 1. Ranjit Singh Disle. 2. Ramnath Desai. 3. Chamundeshwari Nath. 4. Ajay Desai. 5. Vidyalakshmi Pandey. Answer: Option 1. Ranjit Singh Disle. Ranjit Singh Disle was the first Indian to win the Global Teacher Prize, an annual award that recognizes outstanding teachers who have made a significant impact on their students and communities. Disle, a teacher from Maharashtra, India, won the prize in 2020 for his work in improving education in rural India and promoting gender equality in education. Options 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not the winners of the Global Teacher Prize. Question number 94. Who was the first woman Chief Minister in independent India? Options: 1. Nandini Satpathy. 2. Shashikala Kakodkar. 3. Sucheta Kripalni. 4. Sarojini Naidu. 5. Anwara Taimur. Answer: Option 3. Sucheta Kripalni. Sucheta Kripalni was the first woman Chief Minister in independent India. She served as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, a state in northern India, from 1963 to 1967. Options 1, 2, 4, and 5 are not the first woman Chief Minister in independent India. Question number 95. From which organization was Timnit Gebru terminated recently? Options: 1. Google. 2. Apple. 3. Microsoft. 4. Facebook. 5. Samsung. Answer: Option 1. Google. Timnit Gebru, a researcher and artificial intelligence (AI) ethicist, was recently terminated from Google. It is not mentioned in the passage who was to feature in the discussion with Vijay Prashad at the Tata Literature Live event in 2020, or what the event was about. Options 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not mentioned in the passage. Question number 97. Which is the first GI tag product in India? Options: 1. Darjeeling tea. 2. Madhubani painting. 3. Kashmiri apple. 4. Odisha rasgulla. 5. Mysore silk. Answer. Option 1. Darjeeling tea. Darjeeling tea is the first product in India to receive a Geographical Indication (GI) tag. A GI tag is a legal protection granted to products that have a unique geographical origin and are produced using traditional techniques. Options 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not mentioned in the passage as the first GI tag product in India. Question number 98. Which of the following will be a debut event in the Summer Olympics of 2024? Options. 1. Breakdancing. 2. Kabaddi. 3. Cricket. 4. Greco-Roman wrestling. 5. Ballet. Answer. Option 1. Breakdancing. Breakdancing will be a debut event in the Summer Olympics of 2024. It is not mentioned in the passage which Chief Minister of Jharkhand was in office on 31st December 2020. Options 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not mentioned as debut events in the Summer Olympics of 2024. Question number 100. The first woman to lead a listed Indian information technology (IT) company is. Options. 1. Roshni Nadar Malhotra. 2. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. 3. Arundhati Bhattacharya. 4. Chanda Kochhar. 5. Geeta Gopinath. Answer. The first woman to lead a listed Indian information technology (IT) company was Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. She is the founder, chairman and managing director of Biocon Limited, a biotechnology company based in Bangalore, India. Link to official website to access all previous year question paper in the description. All the best for XAT.